Hello. So I have been hearing that some people want some assistance with parabolas. So let's take a look at that. It's in IXL Pre-Calculus Section P. So I'm just going to kind of run through 1, 2, and 3 for you. There's a different video on the properties of circles and stuff if you're having trouble with that, which also some of those include completing the square. So there's that. But here we're looking at parabolas. And if you don't have a copy of this or didn't print one out or whatever, make sure you get this because this is a nice little sheet on parabolas. And a couple things just to point out right away. Parabolas can be up or down facing or left facing or right facing. And the difference is in that variable and that variable right there. If it is y equals x squared, that's an up or down parabola. And if it is x equals y squared, that is a left or right facing parabola. The vertex is always going to be h comma k. However, you need to look carefully at the formula because for y equals x squared, h is in next to the x inside that squared term. And for the x equals y parabola, the left and right facing, the k is inside there. So just remember, I mean, you could just look at this variable right there and say, well, if that's the variable, then this thing right there has to be the same dimension. That's the vertex value point in the same dimension. So if that's y, right, then the k, which is the y value of the vertex, has to be in the parentheses. And if the x is in the parentheses, then the h, which is the x value of the vertex, has to be in the parentheses. So a couple more things. If it's positive, if a is positive, if a is greater than 0, it opens up. If a is less than 0, it opens down. And over here on the left-right one, if a is positive, it opens up that way, and if a is negative, it's going to open up to the left. Don't worry about the conics form right now. You don't need to worry about that. But what you do need to keep in mind, and that's why I think you should keep this open, are these things right here. The focus, you could see this 1 over 4a. That is the p dimension. P equals 1 over 4a. And so the focus and the directrix are both 1 over 4a, or p, away from the vertex. So if we go back up here, on this parabola right here, there's the focus. So P is, and there's no small pen in this thing, so I got to do it like this. P is that distance right there. And then that same distance in the other direction is going to be the directrix. And it's going to work the same. It's going to work the same over here. This distance right there is P, and it's going to have a directrix, and that's going to be the same distance there. That's also going to be P from there. And so the A that's here and the A that's here, A equals 1 over 4P. And I think that's it for now. We'll probably reference this partway through, but let's just get straight over there now. Take a look here. All right, so we're going to go into P1, properties of parabolas, and I'll use my my teacher skip button, because I can skip levels. You don't get to do that. Haha. All right, so this, what is the equation of its axis of symmetry? So the axis of symmetry is the line that the parabola is the same on both sides of the line. So in this instance, the axis of symmetry is going to go right like that, only it's not going to be wavy. And what is the equation of that line? Well, the equation of that line is this distance right there, 7. So the equation of that line is y equals -7, because you can put in any x you want. When x equals 4, y equals -7. If x equals 10, y equals -7. If x equals -8, y equals -7, all the way on, right? So that's the equation of the line of that line of symmetry. So, I guess I gotta put it in. Otherwise, is that not gonna let me go on, is it? All right, so still figuring this out. Where's my keyboard? All right, here we go. Let's get this out here. All right, so y equals -7. There, okay. Good work. Whew. What direction does that open? That opens down, of course. What are the coordinates of its vertex? The vertex is that point right there at the tip of the parabola. It's maximum or minimum. So that right there is the minimum value if the parabola opens up, right? But if the parabola opened down, the vertex, that would be its maximum value, right? So this particular vertex is at -3, 0, right? So where do I put that? Hey, get up there. Close. How come that notification in the window is open? I don't want it. There we go. All right. I don't even know if you can see that notification, but here we go. -3, 0. And if this is all easy for you, then feel free to just scroll that video ahead. And what is the equation of the axis of symmetry of this parabola? It is what? It's not x equals 0, because you can have x equal 4, 6, 8, 10, x equals -4, x equals -10. It is y equals 0, right? Because y is never 2 or 3 or 6 or -4. It's just y equals 0. Y equals 0. All right, I'm going to be done with this momentarily, because I don't think I need to keep doing this so much. It opens down. Okay, yeah, I'm going to skip a level. Boom. In which direction does the parabola y equals -8x? So remember, y equals x squared. That's left and right. And x, because this is the weird one. We're used to y equals x. So x equals y squared. That is up and down. Oops. I just gave you totally wrong information. Y equals x squared is up and down, and x equals y squared is left and right. Oh my goodness. It is the end of the day, and I'm tired. So this is a y equals x squared. See the y and the x squared, right? And it's negative. So a normal y equals x squared opens up if it's positive, but if it's negative, it opens down. So this one opens down. Let's see what else we got here. What is the axis of symmetry? Okay, so now you're starting to have to kind of figure things out a little bit, right? So let's just do a little sketch here. And it's x equals y. So it's a left-right parabola. And it's going to open up to the right because it's not negative, right? So let's put our x equals a y minus k, right? Squared plus h. And it'll really help you just to write this stuff out for a while until you really get it down. So h equals what in this equation? 0, right? Because there's nothing out on the end over there. K equals 0 also because it has to be, there's no parentheses, right? So K equals, so H and K, so the vertex of this thing, we already know that's at 0. And now we need to find what? 3, A equals 3. And, well, we don't actually need to do this, but we're going to do it anyways, just because I want to. So A equals, 1 over 4P, or P equals 1 over 4A too. You don't believe me? Watch this. A equals 1 over 4P. And then we'll multiply both sides by P. And we get PA equals 1 over 4. Divide both sides by A. And we get P equals 1 over 4A. So now you have to believe me. All right, so we've got our A, and that'll give us our P distance, right? So A equals 1 over 4P. We're going to go P equals 1 over 4A, aren't we? P equals 1 over 4 times 3. So P equals 1 over 12. So that was kind of all extra. What we're doing is we're looking at this. It's a left and right facing parabola. There is no H and K. It is positive, so it's going to open up this way, and the line of symmetry runs right down the middle of it, like that. So it is going to be y equals 0, right? Y equals 0. Am I doing that right? Yeah. Whew. Just getting a little nervous. Clear screen. Okay. What is the vertex of the parabola x equals 2? They give you a lot of x equals y's just to mess you up. Okay, so we're going to write the main form, right? X equals a y minus k squared plus h. So what fits into there? There's our x. There's our a, which is -9. And there is no k, right? So it's just y, and it's -0 squared plus 2. Now you switch the h's and k's when you switch this around. When you're using the left and right and you switch the x's and y's, you end up switching the h and k from the y equals x form because you need the k in here with the y. But the center, that's for the circle. The vertex is still h comma k. H is still the x component, okay? So the vertex of this parabola, this is our h, and that's our k, right? So the vertex of this is going to be 2, 0. 2, 0. Seems like it might be appropriate to jump a level. All right, what are we in here? 68. So we're getting up there. What's the vertex of that parabola? Well, I'm just going to write it again. So y equals x. How about that? Y equals a x minus h squared plus k. There is no h or k in there, is there? So that is 0, 0. What is the axis of symmetry? So we'll just do a little bit of a sketchy kind of thing here. This is an x equals y, right? And it's so to find the axis of symmetry, just find the vertex in which direction this thing opens, and you're good, right? So this is an x equals y squared. So we know it's a left, right, and it's got a negative. So we already know it's going to open up like that, right? So now all we need to do is find the vertex. So let's just write this formula out. X equals a y minus k squared plus h. And then we'll look at this formula and say, well, there's our h equals 2, and there is no k. So the vertex, it really is late. Vertex equals what? 2, 0. So x equals 2, y equals 0. So it's going to be somewhere like that, right? Did I do that right? 2, 0. Yeah, and it opens up that way. And it really doesn't matter how wide it opens up or whatever. We've still got another y equals 0 line, right? Keep giving us the same line. What if they're doing that on purpose? Y equals 0. She writes that. The directrix. Okay. Now we're on to something, right? The directrix is going to be a line. Remember that. The focus is a point, the vertex is a point, the directrix is a line. Now, of course, they had to give us an x equals y parabola again. So I'm going to start out by writing x equals a, y, x equals a, y minus k squared plus h, right? And so that's, we've got our a equals 6. What's our h and k? H equals -7, right? Because that's a positive right there. So that's a -7. H equals -7. And do we have a k? Nope, we don't have a k. So that's 0. So let's start with the little, just kind of make sure we know what we're doing here. It's an x equals y, so it's going to open left or right. And it's positive right here. So it's going to open up to the right like this. So now we've got our center is going to be, our vertex, excuse me. Too many different figures in my head. The vertex is going to be what? -7, 0. So, and again, these just have to be sketches because you've got the numbers to work with, right? So negative, I'm going to switch colors here. -7, 0. So there's like our vertex, right? 7, 0. And then we need, so remember that A equals 1 over 4P, right? And P is the distance. Remember, we did this a couple minutes ago, right? P is the distance from the focus to the vertex. That's P, or the distance from the vertex to the directrix. So if we have A, and if you like to do the numbers first, you can, but or you can just go P equals 1 over 4A like that. And if A equals, so equals 1 over 4 times 6. So P is 1 over 24. Huh. I'm a little suspicious of that. I'm a little suspicious of that. Why? I don't know. I'm looking at the math just to make sure. 1/24th. All right. So we have, so now back here, okay. So let me get another color. We have a parabola. We already established that it goes this way, right? It opens up to the right. So which means if that opens up to the right like this, that means the directrix has to be over here. And the focus, that's the focus. And this is the directrix. Has to be over there. And the distance here, that distance is P, right? So it's the focus is at -7, right there, right? Now this is turning into a very scrambled looking board. The focus is at -7, and so we're going to need to subtract this distance from -7. So -7 minus 1/24 is going to equal -7 and 1/24, right? And I don't know if IXL will take numbers like that. Well, let's find out. I might get one wrong right in front of you. I'm feeling rather suspicious that I might get this wrong. So that's a vertical line. So that's going to be X, right? Because Y could be here. Oops. Because Y could be here, Y could be here, Y could be here, Y could be here, and it's all going to be X no matter what. So we're going to say that that is X equals 7 and 1/24. 4 times 6. Is that A is 6? Yeah, whatever. No, see, I knew I was gonna. Oh, look. Oh, you know what? I did two things wrong. One, just to show you, one is they really wanted that lopsided fraction in there. And two, I'm thinking I didn't put the negative. Yeah, see, X equal, I put right here. There's my answer. And I forgot to put the negative in there. So next time I will do two things. I will do 7 times 24 and put that on top, and then add that 1, and I also won't forget the negative. All right, well, that was longish, wasn't it? But I get to model refusal to give up, just for you. And I'm still on P1. Can you believe it? What is the focus of that parabola? So that's a y equals ax minus h squared plus k. So that is going to be -2 for the a. There is a 0 for the h and a 7 for the k. So the vertex is what? 0,7, right? I need to write a little bit smaller because otherwise I'm going to run out of room. Okay, so let's just do a little sketch. 0, 7. So there's our vertex right there. It's negative, so it opens down, as you can see, right? So it's going to do something like that. Who knows what? But we know that vertex right there is, that vertex right there is 0,7. And so now we need to take this A right there, the A, and we need to go P, because we're trying to find our P distance, is 1/4A. So P equals 1/4 times -2, right? So that P equals 1/8. And it's asking for the focus, so that's going to be right here, somewhere in there. So the focus is going to be lower, closer to the x-axis, down from the vertex because this opens down, right? So, I forgot to put the closing parentheses there. So what we're going to do is we have to take, it opens down, so we got to take the y component of the vertex, the y component of the vertex, and subtract p. So that's going to be 7 is the vertex minus, well, and remember, this is kind of the absolute value. It turned out negative because I put this negative in there. So the negative shows up there anyway. But it doesn't, I don't want you to focus on that negative, because if I say 7 minus p, it would be 7 plus negative p if it's opening down. But just think visually about the distance. So it's going to be 7 minus 1/8 is going to be the y component. The x component is going to be 0 because the x component of the focus and the vertex is the same. So it's going to be 7 minus 1/8, which is going to be what? 6 7/8, which is, it says simplify any fractions. I'm suspicious again. I might have to remake this video tomorrow if things keep going awry. 6 times 7 is 42. So 8 times 6 is 48, right? So we got 48 plus 7 over 8. We're simplifying the fraction now. So that's 55 over 8. And I think we're going to leave it like that. But I don't, good. The fraction thing popped up. Okay, so it's 0 because that's the line of, whoa, sorry about that. I did not mean to do that. So we don't need to worry about the x component is 0 because it is 0 all the way along there, right? Because the focus and the vertex are all going to be x equals 0 because the way the parabola is going. So the first thing, that's going to be 0. And the second thing now is going to be the vertex. Again, just to reiterate it, it's going to be the vertex minus p. So it's going to be 7, which is the y component of the vertex, minus the distance from the focus to the vertex, which is p, which in our case was 1/8. So, oops. So that is going to be 55 over 8. So that's good. Feel good about that. Clear that screen. Which direction does that parabola open? It's y equals x, so it's going to be left or right. It's negative, so it's going to be left. What? Oh, I see. You gotta, obviously it's an up or down. Y equals x is up or down, and I just have too much going on in my head. So, silly. All right, so y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Our h is 0 and k is 5. So our vertex is 0, 5. And it's the axis of symmetry. It goes through the vertex. So if we have this thing here, and our vertex is 0, 5, and it's like, so it's going to be right. No, I just did that wrong. Sorry. Where's the undo on this thing, man? 0 in the x direction and 5 in the y direction. And it's a y equals x, which is normal, but it's negative, so it opens down like that. So the axis of symmetry is going to go right down the middle like that, which is x equals 0. And if it says the axis, you got to put that whole equation in, right? There we go. All right. I feel like we've been doing this a long time. Is there a timer? There's no timer. I feel like it's getting really long. All right, what's the next one? It's more axis of symmetry. Okay, I'm just going to go to B, P.2. Clear the screen. Because that's the one everybody seems to be having. You're all asking me about this. So let's see. The graph shows the parabola and its directrix. Write the equation of the parabola in vertex form. So it's up or down. So it's going to be y equals x, because it's the standard up or down instead of goofy left and right, which would be x equals y. So it's y equals x squared. It's down, opens down, so we know it's going to be something like y equals negative x squared. And now we got to start to find numbers, right? So our form is y equals a x minus h squared plus k, right? And we are trying to write the equation of that parabola. So the thing we want to do is find our vertex, which is right there. And so that tells us that h equals what? H is the x component of the vertex. That's 0. And k is what? K is negative 3. So now we're getting there, and we're going to say y equals, it's negative, so it's going down, so we're going to say negative a x minus h is 0. We'll take that out later, but I'm putting it there now for clarity, plus negative 3. All right? Now we just got to find a, right? And if you remember, a equals 1 over 4p. And what is p? P is the distance between, so you can see the directrix right along here, right? So p is the distance between the directrix and the vertex. That's p. And if you know p, you can also find the focus, which is right there, if you needed to. But we just need that p, right? And what is p in this? P equals 1. So that's easy. So that's a is going to be 1 over 4 times 1. So it's going to equal 1/4. So our final equation is going to be y equals negative 1/4 x. I don't need those parentheses, but I don't see an eraser on here, so minus 3. And now we'll go put that in. See if I have embarrassed myself or not. Y equals negative 1 over 4 x squared minus 3. Good, I could still be a teacher. All right, so we're doing this again. And I'm going to do it a couple more times, and then I actually have to go because I'm getting quite tired. All right, so here we go. Write the graph shows a parabola and its directrix. Write the equation of the parabola in vertex form. Okay, so the very first thing we notice, it's a left-right parabola. So we know it's going to be an x equals y squared parabola. And in fact, it opens to the left. So it's going to be an x equals negative y squared parabola. So now we're going to write, next we'll notice the vertex, which is right there. So the vertex is 0, 0. So h equals 0 and k equals 0, right? So that makes that pretty easy. So now we're going to write this. It's x equals a y minus, make sure you switch the h and k's for this, right? Plus h. Except h and k equals 0, so now we can go x equals a y squared, right? Except that a is going to be negative, we remember from up there, so I'll sneak that in there. All right, so now we got to find our A. And here's our, remember that A equals 1 over 4p, right? And this is p. So p equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. P equals 5. If you were asked to find the focus, you would just go the other direction. 1, 2, 4, 5. And there would be the focus. And that would be at -5, 0. So A equals 1 over 4p equals 1 over 4 times 5 equals 1 over 20. So now we'll just stick that in for our A, and we're done. X equals, and it's negative, it's going that way, negative 1 over 20 y squared, 20. And now we'll put it in and see if I'm right. X equals negative 1 over 20 y squared. Submit. Good. All right. That is basically the same problem. So you know what I'm going to do? I am going to hit the skip a level and see what we see. This graph shows a parabola and its directrix. Write the equation of the, where is the, oh, I guess the directrix is the y-axis, right? Okay, so this is a left-right parabola. So it's going to be an x equals y squared parabola. It opens to the right, so we don't have to worry about the negative. The vertex is right there. So the vertex is at what? 3, -1, right? So we're going to say h equals 3 and k equals -1. And then we notice the distance here from the directrix to the vertex is 3, right? Because the directrix is parallel to that, and it's only 3 away, right? 1, 2, 3. So P equals 3. So now we got our equation, right? X equals A, y minus k squared plus h. And we need to find our A. So A equals 1 over 4p equals 1 over 4 times 3 equals 1 over 12. All right, so that seems pretty straightforward, right? Now we just got to write it. X equals 1/12 y minus, what's our k, is -1, so that's going to be a +1, because it's minus a negative, right? Squared plus 3. And that should do it for that. X equals 1/12 y plus 1 squared plus 3. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, we've done a couple of those. I think I'm going to hit the jump a level. Oh, there's the, okay, so the only difference here, right? And I'm going to just show you what's going on here. The only difference here is that it's giving you, this graph shows a parabola and its focus, right? The equation of the parabola in vertex form. So it's an up or down, so it's going to be y equals x squared, right? And it's going up, so it's going to be positive. The vertex is at what? -4, -7, -4, -7. I guess I'm just doing this after all. So h equals -4 and k equals -7. So we've got our y equals a x minus h squared plus k. We've already got our h and our k. Now all we need is our a, and a equals 1 over 4p. P is the distance, right? It's the directrix is going to be right down here because this is the distance right there. That's p, and in our case that equals 1, but that's the same as the distance to the directrix, right? That's also 1. So a equals 1 over 4p equals 1 over 4 times 1 equals 1 over 4. It's opening up, so we don't have to worry about the negative. So we got y equals 1/4 x minus -4. So that's going to be x plus 4 squared plus -7. So that's going to be -7. And we'll put that in, and then we will actually hit jump level because I need to get out of here. Y equals 1/4 x plus 4 squared -7. Oops, -7. Ooh. Okay. All right, so that's basically same problem, same. Right there we go. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. Skip a level, see if there's anything. Write the equation in vertex form for the parabola with the vertex at 1, 0 and the directrix at the -6. It's the same problem, just sketch it out and you'll see it. All right, so we're gonna make a parabola. The vertex is going to be at 1, 0, so something like that. And the directrix is going to be at x equals -6. So if x is always -6, it doesn't matter what y is. So x -6 is going to be like that, right? And so our parabola, if it's got a, so we can see already if that's the vertex. Okay. So we can already see what our parabola is going to be doing, right? Our parabola is going to be going like this. And the focus is going to be on this side, right? So what do we need? Well, let's go back to our equation. So this is a right-facing parabola. So it's going to be x equals y squared, right? It's right, so we don't need to worry about the negative. So it's going to be x equals a y minus k squared plus h, right? So do we know h and k? We do, because we know the vertex right there. So h equals 1 and k equals 0, right? Now all we got to do is find the a. So the a equals what? 1 over 4p. And what is p? P is this distance right there. And what is that? Well, if this point here is 1, 0, and this point here is -6, and I'm putting 0 in, just because we're considering that point only. So that's 6 here, and 1 here makes 7. And you can do it either way. You could start here and say, well, I'm going to go this minus this, and you will go 1 minus -6, and you'll get 7. Or you can say this minus this, -6 minus 1, and you'll get -7. But since you're just talking about distance, we're always going to use the absolute value anyways. So 1 minus the other, right? So P equals 7. P equals 7. So A equals 1 over 4 times 7 equals 1 over 28. And now we know everything. So we're going to say x equals 1 over 28. Y minus, what's our k? Our k is 0 squared plus our h, which is 1. So then I'm gonna go ahead and type it in. I'm gonna not put that minus 0 in the parentheses because I tried that once to see what it did, and it did not like that y minus 0 in parentheses. So I'm not gonna do it. X equals 1 over, oops, whew, that almost was bad, huh? One over 28 y squared plus 1. Awesome. Feels good, doesn't it? Feels really good. All right. So I know I keep saying I got to get done, but I just want to give you a couple more examples because we're getting higher, and this is probably where things start to get a little dicey for some of you. All right, so a parabola with a vertex at 0, 2 and a focus. Remember, the focus and the directrix are the same distance in opposite directions from the vertex. So we're just going to sketch in a vertex at 0, 0x, 2y. So that's going to be like our vertex. And our focus is going to be 0, -1, right? So now if the focus is below the vertex, remember the vertex is where the line actually goes and it bends around the focus, right? So this has to go like that somehow because the focus is below the vertex. Remember, if you know the vertex and the focus, that line has to bend around the focus. So h and k were given, and we have to find a. That's p, right? And p is the distance from y equals 2 to y equals -1, which is 3. So p equals 3, and a equals 1 over 4p equals 1 over 4 times 3 equals 1 over 12. And now we know everything. It's downward facing, so our a is going to be negative. So it's going to be y equals negative. There's our a, 112. I should write this. Y equals ax minus h squared plus k. Okay, so now there's our a, -12. X just has to be in there, right? Minus our h, which is 0. So I'm going to put that there now, but I won't type it in. Plus k. And k is positive 2. So there we go. Let's type that in and see what's what. Y equals -1/12 x squared plus 2. Boom. All right, so that was good. And that's kind of the same thing. Let's go up a level, see what happens. Focus and directrix, I'll just get you set up here. Graph it. Focus is 8, 0, so it's right there. The directrix is x equals 0. So if x is always going to be 0, then the directrix is like that, right? Because that's where x always equals 0. Y can be anything it wants, and x is 0. So we know our h, and we know our k, and this is our p right there. Oh, I almost led you astray, didn't I? Look at that. That is the focus. So forget that. And I sure wish there was an eraser. How come there's no eraser? Oh well, boom. There should be an eraser. Anyway, oh, I wonder if that's an eraser. Nope, that's a black line. All right, so here we go. Let's do it again. There we go. The focus is at 8, 0. And the directrix is at x equals 0, right there. So if this is the focus, and that is at 8, 0, and this is the directrix, and lining up with that, the directrix is at 0, 0, we need to find the vertex. And where's the vertex going to be? Well, it's going to be halfway between the focus and the directrix. So if the focus is 8, and that is 0, the total distance is 8 minus 0. The distance between the two equals 8 minus 0 equals 8. And if it's halfway between, that means it's going to be 8 over 2 from either of those in the direction of the other. So that equals 4. So we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 and put it right there. And 8 minus 4. So the vertex is 4, 0. So now we've got h equals 4, k equals 0. We can see what kind of where it's going, right? We know what kind of parabola it is because there we have the vertex and the line of the parabola bends around the focus, so it's going to go like that, right? So that's going to be a y equals a x. Nope, that's not right. That's going to be an x equals a y minus k squared plus h parabola. We already know h and k. We just need to know y. And we've already had to figure out y because, well, we've had to figure out p because p is half the distance from the focus to the directrix because that's right where the vertex is. So p equals 4. And then a equals 1 over 4p equals 1 over 4 times 4 equals 1 over 16. And it's opening to the right, so it's going to be positive. So it's going to be, and I've done the whole thing again already, but that's fine, whatever, I don't care. So it's going to be, where are we? It's going to be x equals, our a, 1/16, times y minus k. So that's k and that's h, right? So y minus 0, and again, I won't type that in, squared, plus h, which is 4. So now I will type that in. Oh, look at that, it disappeared. Wow, that's kind of weird, but who cares? I know what it is, right? Y, nope. I did it wrong. Good thing it disappeared. That's it. That's supposed to be it. Wow, that is just, I wonder if it's freaking out because this video is so long. That's not an X, that's a Y. Yeah, no, that's an X. Oh, see, I'm totally confusing myself. That is an X. X equals Y, right? Oh, I thought that was an X that got messed up. Okay. Anyway. Oh my goodness, look at that. Weird. Okay. So now I just have to do it. So X equals, it's not negative, right? And what did we say? The P is 4, so A is 1 over 4 P, so 1 over 4 times 4 is 1 over 16. So X equals 1 over 16. And then Y, Y minus K is 0, so it's just going to be Y squared plus H, and H is 4 plus 4. Oh. And that just really does, oh goodness. All right, well, I got you to 85, and I gotta go. So anyway, there it is. Bye.